I guess that
The magic wand?
will be good
There you
enough.
go.
She said, do something like this.
Yeah,
so-
you're on. You did it.
Okay. Let me call the meeting to order. And why don't we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is the organizational meeting of the Charter Review Committee for the City of Sebastian, 2016. This is my second one, and I noticed a couple of people have been here before, and maybe even more than just two. I don't know. Okay, good. I welcome you back, and I welcome all the new members as well. My name is Robert Ginsberg. I'm the city attorney for the City of Sebastian. Just briefly, I was the county attorney for Dade County for 25 years, and I've been the city attorney for Sebastian for just over 7 years. Let me say that you've all been furnished with a packet from the clerk's office that's provided you with the code sections that relate to the work of this committee and the entire city charter. In addition to that, you were also furnished, I'm told, with the booklet that we had printed up after the last amendments to the city charter. So this is the current municipal charter that you've got in two different forms. You have the obligation to conduct the work of the Charter Review Committee and to report back to the City Council with your recommendations in 6 months. The City Council will then take up your recommendations, and they will decide which, if any, of your recommendations will go on the ballot. And that'll be this coming fall, the elections in 2016. We accomplished that last time. I believe there were about 8 recommendations from the 2011 Sebastian Charter Review Committee to the City Council at that time. Some got amended, but they all got put on the ballot, and a number of them passed, and a number of them didn't pass. Let me say it now, as I did then, I view this committee as the most important committee in the city because you're dealing with the charter. The charter is Sebastian's constitution. It is the document that reflects the relationship between the citizens and the government. And it's where the citizens can provide the government with power over them and restrictions on that power. And to me, that is the most important governing document that the city's got. The charter is a few pages long, as you've noticed. The code that the city has is 2 huge volumes of material. But these few pages outweigh anything else because it's the compact between the citizenry and the government. Let me briefly describe, probably for the 100th time to some of you, maybe for the first time for some of you, this is a sunshine law committee. That is that the open government laws, which are comprised of 1, the sunshine law, and 2, the public records law, apply to this committee. Those laws have their formation in the Constitution of the state of Florida and in the laws of the state of Florida. They're very important because violations of those laws put in jeopardy the work of the committee and the work of the city council should it decide to put recommendations forward. It can undermine those. We don't want that to happen. Let me briefly talk about the Sunshine Law. The Sunshine Law provides that discussion and decisions will be made at the table here in public, not anywhere else. Please don't discuss the work of this committee with another member of this committee. You can talk to me, you can talk to the clerk, you can talk to citizens if you wish, but not to each other, except at this committee when you're in session. So the public gets a chance to see the work here. Some of it may be pretty, some not so pretty, but that's the way it goes, and the public has a right to see it. These meetings will be noticed by the clerk, so the public has a chance to attend. The public will also have a chance to participate. There will be an agenda, and your work will be governed by the agenda. The Public Records Law is the second aspect of the open government laws that applies to this committee, and that refers to all kinds of documents, papers, tapes, discs, anything that's related to the work of this committee that you may come in contact with. If you should come in contact, people write you letters, emails, forward them to the clerk. The clerk will retain them, so the public would have a right to request them. The clerk may disseminate them to you, so you have a chance to study them if it looks like it's an appropriate thing for you to see for carrying out the work of the committee. Like I say, the public has a right to demand and see everything. By the way, don't send emails to each other. The main issue with the Sunshine Law is that it runs counter to the way people like to live and do business. We like to talk to each other about things of mutual interest. And these days, I guess we don't talk as much as we text or send emails or communicate in the 500 different ways that are available now that weren't available a few years ago. But basically, the law does not countenance any kind of communication between you, among you, or groups of you, except at this table and in public. So the most common thing these days are emails back and forth. Just a very short notice about what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be attending your meetings. I'm going to try as best I can to stay out of your way, not interfere with your discussions. I will answer questions that are asked of me if your chair wants me to. And that means that even if you're discussing something that I might think is illegal, I'm not going to interfere with that, because it may very well be that in that discussion will come the germ of an idea that is legal and worthwhile. And so I'm going to allow that discussion to go forward. I saw this initially in Dade County 40 years ago when they put together the first master plan in the state. And they had 7 committees, and it was a major undertaking. And some of the committees were discussing things, for example, have a population cap. Won't be anybody else moving in. Something was clearly unconstitutional under the federal Constitution, but nevertheless, in discussing population, densities, and other things, they ended up doing all kinds of things that were legal. And so I don't intend to interfere with your conversation, your discussion. I'll be happy to give you my any advice I may have if asked. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you in formulating, particularly in the latter stages of your discussion, focusing. And so what I really want to do is to fully understand what it is you are recommending to the City Council, so I can accurately relay it to them, and the ballot questions will accurately reflect the work that you've done here. I will also try at the City Council level, when asked to explain what you've done, how you got there. Usually your chairman will make a presentation, and at that time, he or she and I will do our best to explain how you arrived at your recommendations and what you mean by them, and the City Council will make its decision. Feel free to contact me at any time. I'll be happy to talk to you, and that's not a violation. Similarly, the clerk, or if you need to talk to the city manager about something, that's okay too. I would say my staff, but I don't have a staff. So now, there are any number of ways for you to proceed, but before you make any decisions like that, you need a chairperson and a vice chairperson. So I'm going to take nominations for chair, and then after the chair is selected, the chair who is selected will take the nominations for vice chair. And then you can proceed with perhaps scheduling or any other initial orientation type process you'd like to consider. There's a number of ways to look at the charter, and we can talk about those later, but I think that should be under the jurisdiction of your chair and not me.
Wouldn't it be helpful if we knew something about each other? I mean, I'm sure everybody doesn't know everybody else here. Is that normal?
I think we can do that, and if you're saying that that might help you in the selection of a chair, then let's do it that way. Let's go around the table and identify yourself.
I'm not saying that we got to do it. Is that
and give a short statement of who you are and your background.
Sure. My name is Fred Jones. I've lived in Sebastian since 1990. I work for the state of Florida as a state trooper. I'm a supervisor at the Fort Pierce District. I've raised my kids here in this community, and this is where I intend on retiring at. So I'm 27 years in right now, so a few more years and I'll be retired. I have to find something to do, so.
My name is Matt Sims. I've been in the community since 1975. I've been on, this is my second board, my third board. I'm currently a part of another board that meets the last Monday of the month, and it's a pleasure to be a part of the Charter Committee. I know a little bit about the Charter Committee from what happened many years ago about the segments that rotated around the county. So it's a pleasure to be able to work amongst you guys, and some of you I've seen before, and some I'm seeing you for the very first time, so Happy New Year.
I'm Mike Barron. Been in Sebastian 10 years, originally from the Northeast. I work with a local radio station, Christian FM, which is in Vero Beach, and we do a lot of community events, so I guess I got kind of nominated to be involved because of the community that I'm involved with heavily.
That's correct. My name is Michael Frank. I've lived in Sebastian now for close to 17 years. I have 2 children here, same as me. I have a law degree, although I'm not practicing. I'm a property manager and man a gated community over the beach, maintenance supervisor also. And I'm very concerned about this town, and also plan to make it my retirement area.
I'm Louise Cottenberg. Most people call me Louise K. And I've lived in Sebastian about 22 years, I think. I've served on lots of different committees. I'm one of those people you might call actively involved in my community. I think that this is the fourth charter committee, so that kind of tells you how long I've been around. And I think it's a great place to live, and it's up to us to make sure it remains that way. As times change, we need to look at how our city operates. So.
Hi, my name is Bruce Hoffman. I've been in the city for 6 years, retired, financial executive. I've served on the Budget Review Committee. I'm currently on the Police Pension Board, and I enjoy devoting my time to the city I've chosen to retire to.
My name's Dick Kroll, and I guess I'm the newbie because I've only been here about 14 months now in Sebastian. Moved here from South Carolina. The only committee I currently serve on is as an alternate on the MPO CAC. And I've just served on, I've got a marketing management background. I've served on numerous committees from city to scholarship boards to president of association, homeowners associations to tourism boards to you name it over the years. So I'd like to be involved in things like this, so that's why I'm here. We love the city that we're living in. So.
I'm Beth Mitchell. I've been in North Indian River County for over 20 years, not always in Sebastian, sometimes in Fellsmere. I also serve as the president, CEO of the Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been in that position, I'm in my 16th year of doing that. I'm also an elected official. I'm a Sebastian Inlet District Commissioner, serving out my third term, which gives me 12 years in that slot. So I've been very involved with the community for a very long time, and I'm very honored to meet all the new people in our community and serve with you. I'm kind of excited about all of this.
Hi, I'm Sergio Moda. Originally, I'm from New York City. I moved to Sebastian about 4 years ago, and I love the people. I love the environment in Sebastian. I sit on the Budget Review Advisory Committee, and some of the individuals here know me from that committee. I'm a student at Indian River State College. I'm a second-year student. I currently work at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management, and I volunteer at a senior pet sanctuary in my free time, nonprofit for the Love of Paws Senior Pet Sanctuary. It's an honor to meet so many of you tonight. Thank you.
This is me. Hi, I'm Dan Dragonetti. I served for 38 years with the federal government. Because of the nature of my service, I prefer not to be nominated.
Am I on? My name is Carolyn Anderson. Thanks, Dan. I moved here in 2004, the year of the hurricanes, and all my neighbors blame me. I have an illness that is very rare, which has impacted my balance and my voice. But that has not deterred me from being who I am and being very involved in our area here. I was on the FSL board a long while ago, and most recently, I, along with the city manager and Bob, we began under a new name, the Disabilities Advisory Board. And we are now meeting twice a year We met in the fall with the city manager and Bob and Frank. We gave them all our recommendations as to how what we needed in our what we needed in the buildings and other areas that the city owns. And one of the most important things, Bob, I haven't got my push button handicap yet on their door. Anyway, because of my voice, I really think that it would be best if I not be nominated. But believe me, I will give my input. Thanks.
Okay. We'll view that as the taking of the role. Let me just say I'm honored to be with all of you, and I have great respect for each of you, and I look forward to your deliberations. With that, why don't we, would anyone like to nominate a chair?
Yes. This gentleman here and this lady.
One at a time.
One at a time, okay. That gentleman there.
We're talking about chair. Yes. Okay.
And I also would like to nominate Louise Kay.
Louise Kay. Any other nominations? Okay. Well, let's take a vote for your chair. Your name is Mr. Jones? Fred Jones.
Yes.
All those who would vote for Mr. Jones as your chair, please raise your hand. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Settled it. All those who would vote for Louise Kay, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Mr. Jones,
Here we
or our chair. Now you need to take the nominations for your vice chair.
Okay, we're now taking nominations for vice chairman. Anyone would like to nominate?
Because of her leadership experience, this gentlelady here.
Beth has been nominated as vice chair. Any other nominations?
And I nominate Louise Kay.
And Louise Kay has also been nominated.
I would step aside from that in favor of Beth.
Any other nominations? Looks like Beth is vice chair.
Be happy to serve behind you.
You know, I've served on a lot of boards before myself, but I've also served as the chairman of the Substance Awareness Council for many years. But sometimes, I don't know, it can be overwhelming doing stuff like that. And I've never served on a board or anything for the city itself. So this is going to be a challenge for me, as well as I'm sure most of you also. I look forward to learning everything that I can and to work with each of you, each one of you.
And you know what, Fred, I admire you already for being openly honest. But what you will find here among us is you will have all the help that you need.
Thank you for that.
We appreciate your service in terms of being a state trooper. Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed. Now, I think
Okay, here we go.
A
We'll
good-
follow the
a good way to start is to look at how often you'd like to meet and when would be the best date and time.
Okay, so now what we will do is we will move forward with the, what dates and times we would like to meet, the frequency of it, and what day of the week is good for the majority of us, and I think we should probably vote on that, depending on what day we choose. So, any idea, anyone, about what day of the week we should meet?
On the agenda,
The very last page of
Yeah.
your,
the agenda's on the agenda, the very last page.
has a
Page
list of
27.
dates, months and
Page
dates.
27.
Yes, 27 of 27.
27, yes.
Okay, sorry.
My only comment would be that we're all here on a Tuesday, so maybe that's a good day.
Yeah.
The third Tuesday of every month. For those of you who served previous, how often did they?
Yeah.
I think the last time it
Twice a
was,
month,
was it twice a month or
I
once a month?
believe.
How did that work?
We-
Too much, too frequently?
We
or-
finished early,
Yeah.
and we addressed every one of the articles. We divided up the articles into, I think, maybe 4 at a meeting,
You good, you good.
and I think it worked well.
Yeah, that way, you were focused on a small portion of the charter at a time, as opposed to the entire document. And it seemed to work well. I think there were amendments generated from each of the sections of the charter that you looked at, your 4 at a time. So that was one way to do it, and I think that worked well last time.
And what day of the week, did you guys, what day of the week did you guys meet? Did you
That I
guys meet?
can't remember.
They were mostly sunny days, as I recall.
I forgot the time, it was about, what, 5 years ago, 2011?
5 years ago, 2011.
I forgot about
We,
that, so, got you guys to get a little
then
older.
we met in the afternoon,
I can't
No,
even remember
yeah.
what time of the
met
day it
in the
was.
afternoon. When
Well, they have,
a
we have
lot of
dates here,
money.
so.
yeah,
we
they have
dates.
2 Mondays in the month and 2 Tuesdays in the month of each month. So
I make a nomination, that we go,
Mondays, I can do Mondays better,
yes, Monday for me would be better too.
yes.
As long as it's not the 4th Monday, because I'm already committed to another board, so it have to be.
The 1st, the 8th, the 14th, the 15th, 21st, and then they got April, Monday, then it goes to Monday. Like 2 Mondays a month. I can do the 1st, the 8th. March is 14, 21. April is 4, 11. Looks like it's the beginning of the month. Two Mondays in the beginning of the month. How does that work for anybody?
Around Mondays.
Mondays?
The two Mondays, the beginning of the month?
Well, the problem I have on Mondays, I have association board meetings on Mondays at least once, sometimes twice a month.
I've got a veterans advisory meeting that happens on Mondays, every other month, or every,
And there's no Wednesdays, right? There's no Wednesdays?
No
'Cause
Wednesdays.
Tuesdays-
No Wednesdays, yep. They break it up Mondays, Tuesdays, and then they,
That's 16th, 15th, and 12th Tuesdays.
the 15th is a Monday, the 16th is a Tuesday in February. 22nd is a Monday, and the 29th is a Monday in February. So they have 4 Mondays in 4 Mondays in March and 1 Tuesday, it looks like. I got my days right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 16. February has 2 and 2. 2 Mondays, 2 Tuesdays.
You know, if it's if it's a little ungainly, what we could do is
The
tonight,
first one?
just work on a date in February that
Okay.
looks like all of you can
All right,
attend, and then you can take another look then.
okay.
You need to do March,
Oh, good.
or you can, complete it, but
Well, then the next one will be February 8th. It's a Monday. Would that work? February 8th, would that work?
Yes.
Why don't we ask the clerk?
Work?
Would it February 8th?
That's
Is
available.
That's an open date that
Yep.
looks okay?
Yep.
Because
go
that's
with
listed
that.
on the list here.
Go with that, yeah.
And that's a Monday
Yes, sir,
That's a Monday.
and 6 o'clock?
correct. Perfect.
6 PM.
Perfect.
Okay. That actually could conclude your deliberation for tonight, or, go ahead.
Under items or committee member matters, I do have one question. You talked, Mr. Ginsburg, about public involvement
Yes,
with our committee.
yes.
And what I would like to know is whether or not this committee is ruled by the same rules that are in place for a city council member in terms of, or city council meetings, in terms of public input, timing, issues, things that the public is allowed to talk about. Could you address that?
Yes. This committee and all committees are now pretty much required to have an agenda that tracks the city council agenda. One of those will be public input. There's a formal provision for hearing the public that's provided in the, in your founding document, in the charter and in the ordinance. But there's been a more recent state law that broadens the public's ability to talk to committees and commissions and councils and so forth. And so I would say that that law would say that at every one of your meetings, there should be a provision for the public, if it wishes to address you. And you can set the way the city council works it, there's a 5-minute time frame, time limit on each individual person's presentation to you, so that can be enforced. So that law is new since our last meetings in 2011. So I think that we need to be cognizant of that. But typically what happens is, and what happened before, is that toward the end of your deliberations, you formally invite the public to speak. And in addition, Mr. Chairman, it's traditional, I believe, to invite the city council as well. As individuals, they can address you also, if they wish to do so. Sometimes they have some things that they'd like you to consider. But, yeah, the public has an enhanced opportunity to address you.
Thank you.
The other thing I was going to suggest is, and we can adjourn the items for next agenda. You may want to, as Louise Kay said, you may want to, for example, say a certain portion of the charter would be under review at that time. Everybody please read it. Or another alternative might be to assign an individual section of the charter or chapter to an individual person. I leave it to you as to how you want to conduct the business of the committee.
Is there any input from the committee here as to what we discussed, what part of the charter we discussed, or individuals?
I would just say that from my most recent experience, and I've been on a number of charter committees, it was very productive, I felt, more productive than any of the others that I served on, to have an open discussion with each member studying the several articles and coming up with their particular questions or understandings or input.
I concur.
Yes,
Yeah,
would
I think
conf-
you were
I
on
would
that
concur,
committee
too.
also, weren't
Yes.
you?
Correct.
Yes.
It's like it's
And
more
it did
effective.
work very well.
It worked great.
It's gonna be more, I think also, it'd be more effective like that, because as opposed to one person trying to get an idea about one thing, he or she may not be knowledgeable, but as a group, the input could be received, I think, very good.
Agreed.
You usually have a pretty good discussion
Yes.
as a result.
Agreed on that.
So did you split the 6 sections, 2, 2, and 2?
I can't remember.
Me neither.
I believe it was, at each meeting we discussed one, sometimes if there was an article that we felt would require a lot more discussion than others, I think we did that one alone, but on many times there were things that we could kind of anticipate that there wouldn't be a great deal of work with. Do you recall, Mr. Dragonetti? Was it?
Now, we just kind of went around, and it was in open. All of your faces are very familiar to me. We just went around, and we had an open discussion, and whoever had a point, they made their point, and then there might be a counterpoint. It was really very pleasurable. I mean, it was a lot of fun, actually.
I think we generally looked at 2 or 3.
I believe it was that too. Yeah.
And did you
Carolyn was
move
there,
on
too.
after that discussion? Or you revisited as you went through?
I think there was,
I think what they did was they had an extended discussion of the particular chapters or articles that were on the table at the time. They came to some conclusions that I'll call tentative conclusions as to the kinds of things they were looking at in some detail. And then when they completed the charter, they went back to those and finalized their recommendations.
Yeah, it really was very easy and very uncomplicated. It was comfortable.
For example, just as an example, you all have taken a look at the charter. Article 1 is probably the longest single article, but it's really not a controversial issue. And we went through it line by line, all of us individually, and at the end, you know what we did? We suggested to the council that they delete slaughterhouses and, remember? Because they were there, but they didn't mean anything since Sebastian didn't have any and didn't have the property for any, and so it didn't make sense to have that provision in there. So
Mentioned.
as a technical matter, it ended up coming out. So really what was maybe the longest in terms of text was disposed of pretty quickly as a result. So some of the others, they can get into a more philosophical discussion of government and, what you want to have, what the citizenry should have, what it should look like.
And the meetings were hour 30, hour 40, as far as time limit, or were they 3-4-hour meetings?
Oh, no, I don't think they went that long.
That's
I
good
don't
to hear.
think we ever had a meeting that was longer
hear.
than 2 hours.
No.
I think you're
good.
right. In fact, even the 2 hours is kind of stretching it, I
That was a
think.
long meeting. That would have been-
Yeah,
It's always good to know.
yes.
Yeah.
And everybody had a fair opportunity, everybody will have a fair opportunity to express yourself and to, and make sure you're understood and so forth.
Right, so are we in agreement that we discuss Article 1 and 2 at the first meeting? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
At least 1 and 2?
Right.
That would be fair.
Yeah, that'll be a good start.
Yep.
So, all right, so we're discussing article on our agenda. It's going to be Article 1 and 2. We're discussing at the next meeting. Is
And
there
everybody
anything
has a
else
copy
that-
of everything? Everybody has a copy of the charter and the booklet?
Not a hard copy, I have a
Is
PDF.
there anything else we need
I
to,
don't wanna-
anybody
I
think
don't
we
wanna
need to
download
add
this,
to the
I could.
agenda for the first, the actual second meeting?
I had a question, though. Is there any source that we can go to that shows the amendments that were suggested last time that were
Sure.
rejected?
It's all public record, we can do that.
I think it would be helpful that we don't spin our wheels on, or maybe there's things that we want to suggest again that didn't pass this time. So how would we get those?
We'll have them as part of your kit next time, how's that?
Great, great.
So, any other business before the committee?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and second, meeting's adjourned.